So how you're licensed makes a big difference on your entitlements. So in the previous chapter, we discussed the various different license metrics. Let's talk about the first one, the concurrent usage. So what is the concurrent user definition? The concurrent user definition is defined as the maximum number of users accessing at any one time. There's also a concurrent device, concurrent user overlap, but we'll focus on concurrent user as it relates to this webinar. Basically, we were looking at the maximum concurrent usage to measure our license need and requirement, right? So there's no need to really track individuals who have access to the respective modules. We're really looking at what was the peak, what was the peak usage at any point in time that we're looking at. So we need to actively manage this. We need to define a method by which we're going to measure this concurrent usage of our users. If it's not actively managed, Oracle would require migration to current license metrics that may be less valuable, right? We might be, as I mentioned earlier, we might have different shifts, work shifts and things like that, and the concurrent user metric might be absolutely favorable to us, and Oracle may require us to migrate off of that if we're not proactively managing our concurrent usage. Again, this license metric is no longer available. It stopped when the new component and professional suites licenses came about. So the next one we spoke about in the previous chapter was around the professional user, right? So around 2000, Oracle introduced the eBusiness Suite professional user licensing model. And that licensing model, again, check your contracts, but the table in your contracts would look something similar to what I have illustrated here on the left. And that licensing model was maintained up until about March of 2003, and then Oracle shifted that to the eBusiness Suite professional user table as it's illustrated on the right. So the 2003 pricing model, it enabled Oracle to reduce the number of modules it offered, right, products during an order, and along with that, they also reduced the minimums for requiring usage of eBusiness Suite to 10% of the total employee population. So those are some changes that came about between the two models. So if you were fortunate enough to have bought eBusiness Suite around using that eBusiness Suite original professional license before March of 2003, you guys have a lot of value in that licensing model. So that professional user, what is it? It is an individual authorized by you to use application programs which are installed on a single server or multiple servers, regardless of whether or not that individual is actively using the programs. So it's very important, based on that license definition, to ensure that you have a good idea of what access an individual has. So if people have left the company or no longer there, they've changed job roles, etc., we really want to manage that and revoke access and ensure only people who are requiring access to the applications are gaining access, so that we're not having to inadvertently pay for those licenses. So again, the eBusiness Suite professional license again was introduced sometime in 2000 and then later changed to the 2003 license model. So a company may not, when you bought this, the client was not allowed to license the eBusiness Suite at a divisional level, right? Unless it had a wholly owned subsidiary. So there were some restrictions around that, in terms of at what level you could buy these eBusiness Suite licenses, in terms of lines of business, departments, organizations, etc. So it's really important that you understand how those contracts are structured, so that you know that if you have multiple deployments of eBusiness Suites, such as some of our larger customers do, they might have upwards of 10 different Oracle ERP systems deployed. Then you understand that what contracts and what license models and entitlements govern which deployment, so that you can easily manage that. And the key thing to note on the professional user license is, as the employee population grows, the minimums need to be maintained, right? So if our employee population grows, then these licenses had some minimums that we needed to ensure that we maintained, depending on if we were on the original eBusiness Suite Professional User model or the eBusiness Suite 2003 licensing model. And those different minimums need to be adhered to. So let's talk about some of the more common or the more recent, at least as of the last 10 years, the component application user model. Now, as we discussed, the component license model is broken up into two, the application user and the usage. So this slide illustrates the application user licensing as it relates to the component price list. Now, if you go to oracle.com, you can pull the current component-based price lists and look at those. And this is the application metric that predominantly governs those licenses today. So the application user is an individual authorized by you to use the applicable license programs, which are installed on a single server or multiple servers, regardless of whether the individual is actively using the programs at any given time. So similar to the professional user, but again, this is component-based, so we're licensing this based on the specific modules. So, here's an example of that from our license analysis tool to kind of give you guys an idea from Vision Demo, right? You have advanced benefits, advanced collections, depot repair, and, as a blowout, you can see in depot repair who all is actively using depot repair, and you can see that. You can see the last login dates, and you want to proactively manage this. Another element in the application user metric definition is the requirement that, especially for Oracle order management, that only application users are able to manually enter orders into order management. But any other orders that are entered electronically from other sources must be licensed separately. And we'll talk about that, how that model plays out. So if we're on the application user license metric, some of the consideration points are that each application is licensed individually. Product licensing is based on user access to each product line. So again, it's if they simply have access, they're counted. If they don't have access, they're not, right? So metrics are specific to the products or the modules that we're licensed for. There are obviously prerequisite components, right? For Oracle products that have functional dependencies with other Oracle products, so you need to ensure that the prerequisites are met. There are minimums based on any single product, and you can review those on the Oracle price list. Another key thing around the application user licensing metric was Oracle also has these read-only user types of licenses that some customers may have. So if you have read-only user licenses, so for instance, let's say these folks are only going to be accessing reports from General Ledger and things like that, and they're only getting read-only capabilities to that, and they're not transacting in the system, you can get a little bit more restricted license of an application user. If you have those, make sure that these users are clearly defined in the system as read-only or whatnot, so that you can clearly identify that these users are accessing, read-only capabilities. And different customers do it in different ways, whether at the responsibility name or, they ensure that the profile options for those responsibilities are designed in a way that those users only have access to read-only capability. So let's talk about the component usage based license metrics. So as we talked about on the previous slide around the application users around order management, right? In order management, if you have application user license metric, you're only allowed to enter orders manually through the front end, if you will. So here's an electronic orders lines example. Order management is licensed based upon the number of application users and the number of electronic order lines entered from any source other than entered by Oracle order management users. So it's an and, so we have to ensure that we're managing both not only the users but also any electronic orders that are being entered through APIs, interfaces, etc. Right? So you have to measure, again, both the access from an application perspective as well as the usage of order management functionality in terms of APIs, interfaces, etc. So you need to look at what the order sources are and determine, hey, these are all entered electronically and whatnot. So the other key thing is that an option must be licensed at the same level or greater than its parent. So an example is, order management with advanced pricing. So if I'm using order management and I'm using advanced pricing for order management, then advanced pricing users must equal the order management users. And if I'm bringing in orders electronically, then advanced pricing electronic order lines has to equal the number of order management electronic order lines. So this is how the component usage-based license metrics work. And if you look at the price list, you can see that the application users versus the electronic order lines, etc., and the various different usage-based license metrics. So the custom suite user. So as we spoke about earlier, the Oracle introduced another licensing model for a custom application suite, or CAS licensing model. And with that came the custom suite user license metric definition. So the goal for the Oracle application suite model was to give customers the ability to create a custom bundle of modules to meet the customer's needs, right? So it's for companies standardizing on Oracle, and they have specific users requiring access to not just one application module or functionality, but a variety of different modules within the Oracle e-business suite. So they gave customers the ability to pick and choose which specific functionality from the Oracle component price list, combine them together and create their own, if you will, a custom suite. And that custom suite was basically, the custom suite came with that custom suite user license definition that's defined as an individual authorized by you to use Oracle programs included in the applicable custom application suite, which are installed on a single server or multiple servers, regardless of whether the individual is actively using programs at any given time. So again, it's authorized access, and if they have access, they're counted. If they don't have access, they're end dated, then they're not. Consideration points. So the custom application suite bundles are based on end users' needs. So the customer got to pick and choose which functionality they wanted to incorporate into their custom suite, obviously keeping the prerequisites in mind. And then different application products are bundled to a commercial suite and licensed per application user that's using these applications. So again, it's a custom suite user. It's a custom license metric for each customer. So if I have a custom suite license, then my custom suite may not equal to some of my friends' custom suites. Each customer will have their own definition based on what their contract says in terms of what modules and whatnot they define that particular custom suite. So if customers are still considering some of these suite licenses, they need to be mindful of including products that have application usage-based metrics and including them or not including them into the custom suite. It might be cheaper to look at, hey, maybe I don't include iExpense into my custom suite. I look at licensing iExpense based on the number of expense reports, right? Things like that. So we want to make sure that we're optimizing the custom suite to accommodate those modules that we know we're going to get a lot of value out of, and making sure that those things are properly defined in our suite. And then last but not least, we have the enterprise license metrics, right? So the enterprise model has a total of 5 licensing metrics. There's a totally different price list on Oracle.com for enterprise metrics, right? There's 4 usage-based license metrics. There's the enterprise revenue, enterprise operating budget, cost of goods sold, and freight under management. These are the typical usage-based ones. And then the last one is the user-based metric, the enterprise employee metric. Some customers might have, along the enterprise metrics line, they have created custom license metrics, that's specific to that industry or that business, et cetera, that's Oracle has adapted. So it's a combination of the custom and the enterprise, and you can mix and match those types of license models as well. That was the beauty of the new license models, is that you can kind of define what custom suite is for you, and then you can pick and choose certain modules based on a custom module, custom enterprise metric, etc. So some of the consideration points if you're on the enterprise metrics is, products are available for purchase at an enterprise level. So, right, it allows internal and external usage, but there's no need for transaction usage, right? So it allows for us to enter orders electronically, et cetera. So metrics, we've discussed those as illustrated above: annual revenue, employee cost of goods sold, et cetera. And so the key thing on this one is if modules are not used, they will still require uplift in fees as revenue, employer cost of goods sold numbers go up. So as our business continues to grow, we will be obligated to uplift our license fees even if our user population hasn't grown, right? So simply because, with the same user base, we're expanding and growing, we would still be required to uplift our license fees, right? The advantage of it is that, I don't need to manage the applications by users or transactions or any of that stuff, right? But, if we're, extremely successful and as our revenue and whatnot grows, or operating budget, et cetera, these metrics grow, we'll have to uplift our licenses and fees.